So yeah, what we had learned in our previous session was regarding the reconnaissance, right, or information gathering. We had understood how to validate the PE headers, how we will be able to go forward and extract the code, how we'll be able to review that particular code, how we'll be able to modify and save that particular code, how we will be able to check for the strings, right? So basically, these are the main things which we had understood till now. Now, our next step will be to understand what actually are the things which are going on with regards to network. Why exactly we will be requiring this? Because whenever there is any particular type of thin client application, right, like web applications, if they are working, they will be utilizing any of these two protocols only, which will be either HTTP or HTTPS, right? So it will be basically we just need to intercept and get that details. But now whenever there is this thick client application, this application based on the functionality, it might be using other protocols as well. Sometimes it will be something like SSH or FTP or RTP or SFTP or HTTP, HTTPS. Any kind of this protocol can be utilized by the client application based on the functionalities. Typically, what happens is this particular protocols, which are other than HTTP or HTTPS, might or might not be able to we might not be able to intercept with our interceptor tools. So we need to check for that particular scenario. Also, we need to understand that whenever this particular type of details are going on, how those specific details are getting transmitted, whether it is in plain text, whether it is in encrypted format, whether what actually are the requests which are going. So all of those specific things we need to validate. So in our today's session, we'll be conducting the information gathering itself, but within the networks, understanding what all protocols are being used and what are the data which is being sent at that point of time. So let us go forward and start up with that particular scenario. First of all, we will be understanding what actually are the network packets, and then how we will be able to utilize our tools as well. First thing is regarding the network packets. So basically, regarding the network packets, the packets will be having, so what actually, first of all, these packets are. When it comes to the network packets, these are nothing but a combined information which will be shared from client to server or from the server to client. What kind of information will be available? Basically, our message which we want to share, right, that will be broken down into multiple pieces, and that particular each piece will be shared it up from client to server or server to client. And basically, that particular piece is called network packet. Now, within the network packets, there will be something called network packet headers. What actually these headers will be containing? It will be containing majorly three things, which will be the packet header, payload, and the trailer. Header will be containing all of this overall information, that from which particular place to which particular place the information will be transmitted. Basically, what actually is the source IP address, destination IP address, source port number, destination port number, right? What actually is the size of the payload, the internet protocol, all of those specific things will be available. Then in the payload, what actually are the contents of the data which is getting shared, right? So basically, what actually is the message which we want to get get transmitted. So those things will be there. And the last one will be trailer. Basically, what actually is the sequence of that particular packet, right? Whether it is first packet, second packet, or 1000 packet, 3000 packet, what is the sequence of the packet? What actually is the signature of the packet? So all of those specific information will be available here. Now, typically, this information will be able to get from one of the tool called Wireshark, right? So basically, Wireshark, what actually is this tool? Wireshark is the tool which we will be utilizing for packet capturing, right? This is one of the very famous tool. I believe you have heard of it, right? And you might have utilized this particular tool to validate the packets as well. Basically, it will be able to go forward and monitor for the network packets. It will also be able to give us those specific details of what actually each and every packet is containing. Every of those details will be very much helpful for understanding what actually are the things which are going on at that point of time. So first of all, we will be having a good amount of walkthrough of Wireshark. We will be understanding how to go forward and filter those specific packets, right? Because within seconds, there might be loads of packets which might be going on. So basically how we will be able to filter those specific packets, and at the end, how we will be able to go forward and search it across, and how we'll be able to see those specific details as well. So just to save time, what I have done is I have just installed the Wireshark. Now typically we can just go to official Wireshark page, and here also within the PPT, we will be having the link to download Wireshark. So definitely you do not need to worry about those specific things. Whenever we open our Wireshark for the first time, there will be multiple network adapters which would be shown to us. Something like in my system, it is showing Ethernet 0, Bluetooth network connection, loopback traffic, and something like that. In your system, there might be more or there might be less, okay, based on the system network adapters which are connected. Typically, there will be those specific things. Now, we need to select that particular adapter where our system is connected to the internet, so that we can capture those traffic which is going from the thick client application, and we can understand how that packet transfer is going on. If I am selecting incorrect network adapter, definitely that particular traffic I will not be able to capture, and I will not be able to get those details as well. So typically here, if we see there is Ethernet 0, there is loopback. Loopback will be something like within the local connection. So here you can see if I hover over it, the address is showing something like 127.0.0.1, which is the local host IP address. So many of the applications or many of the internal processes require internal connection with other processes or something like that. So definitely that they will be utilizing this particular thing. And last one will be Bluetooth. Whenever we want to select anyone, if we are having good amount of multiple network adapters, we can just go to our terminal or command line. We can enter ifconfig to get our IP address, ipconfig for Windows system. And here we will be getting the IP address, external IP address, right? So basically here you can see this is my IP address from which my system is getting connected to. The network adapter which is regarding that particular thing, right, which is regarding that IP address, which is here, it is Ethernet 0. So that network adapter we will be selecting. Okay, something like here Bluetooth does not have any kind of IP address, even though the local host does not have any kind of IP address. So the IP address which is available and the related network adapter which is available, right, that we need to select. So here you can see Ethernet 0 is there. We will double click on it. Here, this is my virtual machine which is running on. So basically it is asking for my permissions to monitor the network traffic. And once I give the permissions, it will typically have that particular thing. So now as you can see within seconds, there are 185 packets which are getting transmitted, right? So this is how we will be able to go forward and get the details. Now, let us select any one packet and see how the data is flowing on, and what all data we can see at that point of time. Here you can see there is one of the packet which we have selected. So here you can see this is the highlighted one. These are the details where we will be able to, this is the place where we will be able to see those specific details. So let me just magnify it a bit so that we can see it clearly and understand. Here you can see the first thing will be frame. So in the frame, what actually are the details, right? When the packet was transmitted, right? What actually is the frame and the length of that particular packet, the capture length, or all of this overall information regarding the packet, the interface name and interface network adapter, right? So those specific things will be available. So typically within the frame section, the important detail which we see here is the network adapter which has been utilized to transmit that particular packet. In the second scenario, we are having Ethernet 2. So in this, we will be able to see the MAC address, okay, and the MAC address which is available at that point of time. So basically here you can see the source MAC address and the destination MAC address, right? So basically this is what we are able to see. So this is 3E22, right? So basically these are the MAC address which we will be able to go forward and identify at that point of time. The next one will be IPv4. Here typically we'll be able to see the source IP address and destination IP address. So here you can see this is the source IP address, this is the destination IP address. Likewise, so this packet has been transferred from the destination to us, right? So that is why the destination is showing our IP address. Next one will be TCP. In that we'll be able to go forward and see the port number from which it was transmitted. So here you can see the source port number and destination port number. Likewise, rest of the things will contain the sequence numbers, acknowledgement sequence number, and flag. Typically, this will not be that much useful for us. Okay, whenever there are some network engineers who are working or IT admins they are working, they might be this information might be useful for them. But for us, the main thing which we are going forward and seeing is source IP address and destination IP address. And at the end, here we will be having a TLS, which will be containing the encrypted data or the plain text data, whatever are the things which are getting shared, right? So that particular thing. Here it might be within the TLS and the HTTPS, right? So at that point of time, the encrypted data is shown up here. But if it is in plain text, we will be able to see what actually is the data which is going on at this point of time. So likewise, these are the things which we'll be able to see, and the same thing on an overall basis will be able to go forward and get within the dashboard of where the packets are shown up. Here you can see the time is available. This time is in milliseconds from where the packet capture has been started. So here you can see the first packet capture was started 0, and here it is 6, right? The source IP address, destination IP address, and all of those things. Now, typically, this will not be very much useful. This dashboard, the default dashboard, might not be very much useful for us because it does not contain the details which we require. Something like the time we require, right? The time we require, it should be in the UTC format. We require also the port numbers and those kind of things, right? So what we can do is we can modify the dashboard as per our requirement, and we will be able to get those specific details of what actually we require and what will be very much beneficial for our testing to get the details very much in less time as well. So what we can do is we can right click on this time field, and here we will be having this option which is column preferences. We can click on column preferences, and the columns which we are seeing here, right? Number, time, source, destination, protocol, and all those things will be available here. So the first thing which we need to modify is the time, right? Here it is showing the time from where the packet capture was started and the milliseconds on from the difference from the packet capture when it was started and how much difference it has been occurred, right? So we don't want that particular thing. We want it in a date format. So we can just double click on this type. Here there will be a specific drop down box which will be popping up, and here we will be having this particular option, right, which is time format specified. Here we'll be having UTC date and time, and those things. What we'll be doing is we will be going forward and we'll be selecting the first one, which is UTC date, your month and time, and we will click on OK. So basically at that point of time, what we'll be having is the specific time, which is your date, your month and date, and the exact time when it was the packet has been transmitted. Second thing which we want here is the port numbers, right? That's destination port numbers and source port numbers. So again, we will go back to the column preferences and we will add that particular columns. So here you will be able to see plus sign. We will just make it as source port. Here in the type, we will select that. We will double click on that. The pop-up will be shown up. What we are going to do is we will be selecting this will be in a sequential order. So we will just go to the series of S, which is source, and we can select the source port. We will again add one column. Here we will enter destination port number. We will select, we will drop down, we will enter here destination port number. And basically we will just update it source port number after source and destination port number after destination, likewise, so that we can clearly understand from where which particular place it has been came up. Likewise, now we can click on OK, and here you can see basically we have gotten the time, source IP address, source port number, destination IP address, destination port number, protocol which has been utilized, and the extra information which can be helpful for us. Length is not required for us. So what we can do is we can just align left everything. We can just go forward, and column preferences, we can just disable the length field, and we are good to go. So basically we are seeing all the details which are required and which can be helpful for our test cases as well. Likewise. So now that we have gotten all those specific details, right? Now, till now, you can see we have opened this particular Wireshark. We have started monitoring for somewhere around 5 to 7 minutes, and typically we have received somewhere around 652 packets. Right now, practically, I cannot go through each and every packet, and I cannot validate, right, that what actually are the things, right? What are the things which are going on within each and every packet, right? That particular thing might not be that much possible for us. So for that particular scenario, there is one thing called Wireshark filters. What actually Wireshark filters will be doing? We'll be able to search it across with the queries which can be understood by the Wireshark, and we will be able to get that particular details out of it. We will be able to get the filter details, filtered packets, which we can analyze it later on. This will be much more helpful during our test cases as well, because we will not be looking overall whatever are the things which are going on through the network, right? We will be looking specifically of what actually the client application is doing with the network. So at that point of time, what are the basic queries? Here you can see whenever we want to search for any IP address, we will be able to type ip.addr. Addr will be address. So ip.address will be able to enter equal to, and we'll be able to specify the IP address, and it will be able to filter the same thing for us. If you want the specific IP address in source or destination, we can type src for source, dest for destination, equal to, and the IP address. If we are looking for specific port number, we can enter tcp.port, tcp.src port, or tcp.dst.port. Let us go forward and check for that one. Now let's assume I want to check for the IP address, which will be something like 8.8.8.8. So I can type IP. I can type ip.addr equal to, and whatever IP address which I am looking for. If my query is right, and if my query is correct, right, then it will be showing the details within green. And if my query is missing out on anything, it will be red. It is a good functionality which can give us those specific data. So now once we execute that filter, here you can see there is nothing, right? Because we haven't done anything with the 8.8.8.8. Now let me just take up some of the things. Let me just enter and something like that. And typically now you can see that that particular thing is coming up, right? So likewise, basically we will be able to go forward and filter out on those specific details. Now, if I want within the source IP address, right? So I can enter ip.src. What happened? So I can just enter ip.src, and basically we can select that, or ip.dest, and basically we will be able to get that particular piece. Now, if I want a specific port, we can enter tcp.port equal to something like 80, and we can get all the ports. And typically here you will be able to see. So the filtered one, right? Total packets is somewhere around 3,592, and the displayed packets, the filtered out packets, are 21, right? So basically here you will be able to see only 21 packets which are containing port number 80 as which are going to the packets. Now this is overall, either it can be source port number or destination port number. What we can do is we can enter src port, and it will be just showing up the port number 80 which is available in source port, or we can enter dst port, which will be showing us the details in the destination port itself. Likewise. So these are the queries or filters which we will be utilizing, right, regularly. Now, typically what will happen is, in case if you want other queries or other filters, There is the checklist which is already given up here. There are all the queries which are available. Typically, all these things are not going to be utilized by us, but yeah, this you can keep it handy. And if in case if you want to play around with this things, you can go forward and you can play around and you can check what actually are the details which you are getting. Next thing is what all protocols are being utilized. So whatever are the protocols are being utilized, you will be able to see those specific protocols in statistics, protocol hierarchy, and here we'll be able to see those specific protocols. So let's assume I have cleared out my filter. If I go to statistics, if I go to protocol hierarchy, whatever protocols are utilized till now, right, overall within the system will be shown to me. Something like here you can see DNS has been utilized, ICMP has been utilized, NetBIOS SMB has been utilized, right? TCP has been utilized. Likewise, if there is FTP will be utilized, like it will be shown up here. Likewise, and if I just double click on that one, if I right click and apply as filter, typically it will just apply that particular protocol name. So if I want HTTP, I can just enter HTTP. If I want FTP, I can just enter FTP. Whatever are the packets which are utilizing that protocol will be shown to me. Right? So these are the overall things which will be available within the Wireshark. Let us revise it, and then we will have a Q&A in case if you guys are having any doubts. First thing is why actually we are utilizing Wireshark, right? That is the main thing, because you should be knowing why we are utilizing Wireshark, because we want to understand what all are the protocols which are being used by thick client application to communicate with the server, right? Without Wireshark, we are not going to get any details out of it, right? Because thick client application might be using other protocols, and Wireshark is a packet capturing tool which captures all the traffic with other protocols as well. Okay, here you will not be getting any kind of functionality where you can modify the packet. Here you will be able to monitor the packet only, right? How worksheet we were able to intercept and we were able to modify, here that functionality will not be there. We will be getting what actually are the protocols which has been utilized by the by that particular thick client application. So because of that particular reason, we are using Wireshark on the first place. What is the functionality? It is a packet capturing tool where we'll be able to monitor what all packets are being transmitted from the applications or within the network as well. Then we had understood regarding the filters. There are three main filters which we'll be utilizing on a regular basis. First one will be regarding the IP address. There are three main filters for IP address. The first one is IP.ADDR. So if you want to check for that IP address, whether it should be in the source or destination, it does not matter to us. We can just enter IP.ADDR. If we want a specific IP address from source, we can enter IP.src. If we want in the destination, we can enter IP.tst. If you want the specific protocol, we can enter TCP.port, the specific port. If we want the specific port in the source address, we can enter this one. If we want the specific port in destination address, we can enter this particular thing. And same thing goes with the UDP as well. So if very rarely you will be able to find that our thick client application is using UDP, but yeah, in case if that kind of things are happening, you can go ahead and you can validate. You can just enter the specific whatever. And now whatever protocols you are looking for, right? If I'm looking at ICMP, or if I'm looking TCP, or if I'm looking UDP, if I'm looking for HTTP, or if I'm looking at HTTPS, if I'm looking FTP or SFTP, whatever protocols I'm looking, I can just enter the name of the protocol, and that particular protocol, the packets which have been utilizing that protocol for transmission will be shown up to us. Along with that, we had understood how to modify the Wireshark dashboard to give us the exact details which we would like during our testing. So any doubts, any queries till now?
No, there is no doubt. Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Now let us go forward and check how we will be taking up the applications and how we will be able to go forward and get the details. So typically what will happen is whenever I execute my application, before executing the application, right, our step number one will be, we will be starting Wireshark. Okay, or basically we'll be starting monitoring with Wireshark. So basically, this will be our first step, which we have already done now, right? Before going forward or after executing the thick client application, you do not need to open the Wireshark, right? Because typically many of the packets might already been have sent, right? So the first thing will be to open Wireshark, start monitoring with it, right? Then our second step will be basically we will be opening one of the other application, which will be this application TCP view. Now what actually this one will be doing? Basically, there will be loads and loads of processes which will be available within the system, and many of the processes might be interacting with the network. For example, in my system, if we include this system itself, there is Zoom which is communicating with external network. There might be some many things, right? OneDrive is doing external network connections, right? Likewise, if I'm using any kind of VPN or anything, right? Many of the applications will be utilizing the external network to go forward and complete its own task. So basically what this TCP view tool will be doing for us, it will identify what processes are trying to connect with which IP address. So it will relate that particular part for us. So if there is process which is Zoom, which IP address it is trying to connect to, right? That thing it will be giving us. If it is any of the other, for example, if it is OneDrive, so which process it is trying to, or which of this process is trying to connect to which IP address, that is what it will be giving to us. So we will open this particular tool as well. There is not much functionality like Wireshark, very simple things. Again, links to download that particular tool is already available within the PPT. So you do not need to worry about those things as well. We will just open TCP view. It requires the administrative permissions. We'll click on yes, and we will just open that tool, right? So now that we will be minimizing the Wireshark, and here this is how it will be looking like. Here you can see there is one process within my system, which is a SVC host. It is doing internal connection, right? This is search app. This is one another. So basically here you can see local IP address and external IP address and remote port number. All those things are going on there. If I open something like Microsoft Edge, so here you can see Microsoft Edge came up. And if I do something like google.com or anything like that, right? So here you can see there are many connections which is being made by MSH, and here you can see at that point of time you'll be able to see that particular IP address. Again, we can filter out also. If I enter Edge, definitely I will be just getting the packets which are coming from the Edge itself, right? All the network connections which are available from the Edge itself, right? So basically from here, we can take up what IP address our thick client application is trying to connect, and that IP address we can filter out within the Wireshark, and we'll be able to get all the packets which are utilized by the thick client application itself. So that is the main thing which we want to try to do. So now that we had executed both of the applications, now what we will be doing is we will be going forward and we will be executing our thick client application. Okay, so basically thick client application which we will be testing today is one of the thick client application, which is 𝗓𝗡𝗶𝗶𝗶. You might have heard of the tool like FileZilla and those kind of things, right? These are the application which are developed for uploading and downloading the files within FTP and SFTP servers, right? So basically the link is also provided within the PPT. We will go forward and we will just open it. So here is our 𝗓𝗡𝗶𝗶𝗶 application. And once it is getting started, right, we will just search here FTP. So whatever connections are made, typically what will happen is they will be shown up here. We will just continue. This is a subscription type of tool, so we will just continue. And what we will do is we will add some of the FTP type of servers so that we can we can try to connect and we can see. Now you guys might have known, right, when it comes to FTP servers requires those credentials to access, and once the access has been provided, typically we can download and upload file from the FTP server, right? What we will be doing is we will just go forward with the configure FTP server settings, and we can enter this particular thing, which is this one. Okay, and we can enter our credentials there. So we can go to here, the profiles and profile settings we can go, or we can go to options and we can go ahead and we can see these particular things. For now, we will go to the profile settings. Here you will be able to enter the IP address and port number and username and password. Okay. You can just copy paste, or if you have any of the other FTP server which you are knowing, you can go forward and you can utilize that one as well. For your convenience, I have just added one of the FTP server here. We will just paste it up here. Port number of FTP will be 21. We can enter our username and password. Now password will be much more sensitive to us, right? So basically I will enter the password and we will see whether we can get that kind of things clearly or not. So I will enter one of the password. Okay, and what we'll be doing is we will click on save. Once it is done with that, typically what we will do is we will ask it to connect. Now typically what happens is every 15 minutes this application will be trying to connect with that, but we want to execute now itself. So we'll just double click on it and we will check. So here you can see this it is trying to connect, right? So basically likewise this thing will be there. Here you can see the host and everything will be there, and we can also use the second one as well. So this one this is one of the another FTP, so you can also add that one also. So here also the same. So basically we had entered the email address and password. We will enter the password again. We will click on save, and what we will do is we will just double click on it so that it tries to make the connection. So here you can see it tries to make the connection. So whatever are the logs which are shown up, right, that logs will be shown up here. It has started resolving. It got the IP address, it tried to connect, and it has entered the user address, and password is hidden, right, because password should be hidden, right? Now what we will be doing at that point of time here is basically here you will be able to see FTP getter and the process ID. The state is established where actually it is connected. Basically here this is the IP address, right? Now typically within this application as well, we had gotten that IP address, but many times, okay, most of the application will not directly show it to you. For example, Skype, it will not show that where exactly their servers are located, right? Where Zoom, right, it will not show you. So basically there we will require those specific things. Here it was okay that it has resolved and it has shown us in the logs itself, but typically most of the application will not be showing you that where exactly it is trying to connect. So that is where TCP view will be coming into picture to help us out. So here you can see this is the IP address, which is 44.241.66.173. Let us just note it down so that we can create the filter 44.241.66.173, right? Now this is the IP address, and we want to search all the packets regarding this IP address, right? So within the Wireshark, because all the packets will be captured at that point of time. So we will enter the same filter, which is IP.ADDR, and this one, the IP address. What we will be going through now is we will be going to our Wireshark. We will take up the Wireshark filter window and we will paste it up. So there are few packets which are available. Now, typically, if you see here, out of 14,000 packets, 11 packets were transmitted with this particular IP address. So we will go forward and see. But typically, this is the view which we are seeing, which is not the specific view which we can understand everything, right? We want something in an sequential order, that what actually was the request, what will be the response, what actually was the request, what are the responses. So what we'll be doing is we will right click on this, we'll click on follow TCP stream. So at that point of time, all the request and response will be shown up. So here you can see this is the response, then the request, then the response, and this is the request, right? So at that point of time, here you can see the password was this one which I had entered. Typically I have entered, so I can confirm this was the password. But yeah, basically here you can see this is the one which is going forward with an plain text, right? In the previous one, before some time, we have seen some data which was in an encrypted format, where we were just seeing something like zeros and ones and some of the random words. If it is not something like that, definitely at that point of time, we can understand that this is the place where the application is sending all the things which is available within the plain text, right? So at that point of time, what can be the issue here? Basically, if there is any of the attacker, right, which is who is doing man in the middle attack, they will be able to get all those things, right, within the plain text itself, and they will be able to fetch the credentials. And typically, based on the functionality, the criticality might vary. Here it is FTP server, so definitely FTP server user will be able to, or attacker will be able to upload some kind of sensitive or download some kind of sensitive files, upload some kind of malicious files. So all of those kind of things will be possible at that point of time. So basically, this is how we will be able to look into that. What was our steps again? First thing was we had started the monitoring with Wireshark. Second thing was we have executed the TCP view. Third thing will be we will be executing the thick client application. Now, in case if the thick client application needs some kind of configuration, right? Something like in Zoom, I need to start a meeting to connect to some of the other places. In this application, we had to enter that particular FTP address to send or to communicate the data. Many times there might be some of the functionality which you need to execute to complete that particular connection, right? So if there is something like that, you need to execute those functionalities. If it is not, you can just start the application. And then our step number 4 will be to go forward and get the IP address or get the remote IP address from TCP view. And then we will be filtering out the packets and we will be reviewing. So basically in Wireshark, and basically then we will be reviewing the same packets, whether what all are the details which are getting shared at that point of time. Typically here you will be able to see it is utilizing FTP protocol, right? So likewise, we'll be able to go forward and get what all protocols are being utilized and how we are getting those details as well. Okay. Any doubts, any queries till now? Guys, slept?
No,
No.
you can proceed.
Okay. What happened, Anuradha, today? You are not speaking. You are in office or? Or today is Monday, so not feeling like issue. Okay. Any doubts, any queries? Okay. So let us go forward and see another application. Okay. And we will check what actually are the things which are happening there as well. So I will just quickly close this application. We will keep running these two applications, which is TCP view, right, and Wireshark. We will keep running both of the applications. Now the second applications which we are going to target is S3 viewer. So basically this is one of the application which is regarding the Amazon S3 client. Typically Amazon S3, right? This is a cloud service, and S3 buckets are the places where we can store some particular data. So basically what this application does is it utilizes our system, and it directly downloads, uploads, right? And we can access all of those specific things. We can drop the files, we can upload the files. All those things can be done within this application itself. Okay, so basically we will try to utilize this application, see how actually it is working off. So again, the download link is already provided here. You can just go ahead and download it.
Can you repeat again? What was the purpose we are using this S3?
This is one of the application itself, and the functionality of application is it will be giving us a good like we can upload and download those details within our S3 bucket. Okay, so if you are having some kind of Amazon S3 account, right? So there we will be having S3 bucket, which is a online storage space where we can store the data. So what this application gives us a functionality is it will be directly going forward and managing the data for us. We can upload the data, we can download the data without visiting the Amazon S3 website or doing all those specific things. From here itself, we can directly go forward and upload the data within our S3 buckets. Likewise. This is
Basically,
the test
instead of
application, target application. This is not the application which we will be using. Like our penetration testing tool, it is not there. This is one of the other target application which we want to test. Likewise.
no, I got it. Like instead of the FTP FileZilla,
Yeah, correct.
where we are communicating with the FTP server, it's a
Correct.
S3 client
Correct.
where we can communicate with Amazon S3 server.
Exactly.
Okay.
So what we'll be doing is we will go ahead and execute this. And here we will type the name of the application S3. Here you can see the things are executed, right? So now what we are going to do, we will be entering our credentials, right? So currently I'm not having any credentials, but anyhow, it does not, we don't require any particular type of credentials. Like what we require for now is we want to validate whether the things are going on in which particular type of format. So I will just enter something like the name, and any kind of comment is not required. The ID. Now, typically the key ID is in with 20 characters, and the secret ID will be in the 40 characters. So we'll just go ahead and add our account, and we will see what actually are the things which are happening here. So here we'll be having, so basically these are the 3 IP addresses. So 2 IP addresses. So we will just write them down. So 101. Yep, actually I was disconnected for a bit. Let me just reshare my screen and redo that particular thing. So what we were doing was we had executed that, and typically here what it will require us is basically it will require the details, account details for us to log in, right? Now we are not having those specific details currently, right? Because currently I'm not having any kind of Amazon S3 account that is a subscription based tool, right? What I will do, but what we need to check is how the packets are getting transferred. So we will enter any of the details. So I will just enter something like text account. We will enter the key, random key, right? Now typically the key ID is somewhere around 20 characters. So we will enter 20 characters. And the access key will be something like 40 characters. We will click on add account, and we will see what actually are the things. So here 52.216.184.1. So 52.216.184.149. So this is the IP address which is available. What we will be doing is we will go ahead and we will search it up within our Wireshark. So IP.ADDR equal to we will search, and here are the details which are available, right? We will just right click follow TCP stream, so we can get everything within clear format, and we can see. So here you can see the token which we had entered there, right? So the token which we had entered there is the same one. So if I just go ahead and search over here, so here you can see this is the one which is highlighted. So here this is the one. So basically this is how we will be able to go forward and get those specific details. Now, what I will be giving you guys as an assignment is you can just click on this one, which is encrypt my credentials with password. You can enter the password, and you need to check whether your password is getting leaked in a clear format or not. Okay, so that will be the assignment for you guys. Any doubts, any queries, anything within today's session?
Oh, no, it's clear. Just share the PPT.
Yeah, I will share it. Just give me 1 minute. I will share it here itself. So hopefully you all have gotten the access of the drive, right?
Yes, could you please share the drive link? Just
Actually,
give me
I'm
a
also
minute.
not
We
having
got
access
some
to.
record.
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
I'm not having. You guys are only having that. Yeah. So, yep, I have
Okay,
shared
we
the
got it.
PPT for the chat
Hmm.
window. Okay. Yeah. So that was it from my end, guys, today. Let us join tomorrow, and then we can unlearn the next part of this testing as well. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.